Hi, everyone. Happy Labor Day. Of course, the university is officially closed today, but since we are at the beginning of our week 2 and you need to get started on everything, I do want to share a few notes with you about what we are doing in our class this week. So first, of course, I do hope that last week's discussion activity to brainstorm complex problem ideas was helpful for you. I saw a lot of great topics being addressed, and of course, by tomorrow night, Tuesday night, you will need to have made a decision on what complex problem you'd like to explore this semester. So, of course, you might choose something that you already discussed last week. And, of course, you got your classmates' feedback as well, hopefully. But you could also choose a topic that one of your classmates brought up that you didn't think of, or maybe even something else that you've thought of since then. So, but either way, you will need to decide. But hopefully last week's discussion activity was helpful for you in making progress toward that decision. And, of course, when you do post your complex problem choice, make sure that you explain it clearly. And, of course, also why you are interested in that topic. So really, the more detail you can give, the better. Posts that are not detailed might not receive full credit. So, of course, framing your complex problem as a question, what we might call a research question, can also be a good approach. So consider what you need to find out, what you need to answer. And, of course, as you explore your complex problem this semester, you should also be considering different perspectives, even if you don't agree with them, and, of course, also working toward what can be done about that complex problem. What are some solutions? So, of course, now that you have all signed up for a discussion facilitation, you should reach out to your group members. And, of course, even if you were signed up for a discussion that is later in the semester, it's a good idea to get in contact with your group members just to touch base early. And, of course, you can even start sharing ideas early as well. Of course, I did receive several questions about the discussion facilitation assignment and some confusion. So I do want to make sure that everybody does understand that. So I have made another video using slides this time to walk through and explain the different elements of the assignment, which I do hope is going to be clearer than the video that I posted on Canvas previously about that assignment. And so you can watch that video in the text version of this announcement. I have a link to that. I hope that will be helpful for you. And as I do mention in that video, I have put the due dates in for each group on the additional pages that I currently have listed in Module 0 on Canvas for the discussion facilitation. And, of course, I'll also be sending messages to the groups about the due dates and with some reminders. And, of course, first among all of those different pages, we have the group discussion board where you and your group members will be able to start collaboration on the discussion facilitation. And again, that will show up on your to-do list about 2 weeks before the group's discussion facilitation takes place. And, of course, each group will have a different due date for that. But I do encourage you to collaborate earlier than that if you're able to. And, of course, a video meeting to start out can be a good approach. And then, of course, there is also a page where each person will then later be submitting an update to me about your group's progress. And, of course, this is due several days before your group's materials will be due to me. And then, of course, I also have another page on Canvas for your group to actually submit the discussion facilitation materials. And, of course, submitting them by email is also fine, but this way it will be showing up on your to-do list on Canvas, and that'll be due about 5 days before the discussion facilitation activity actually takes place. And this also has a separate due date for each group. And finally, I have also manually assigned the due dates for the reflection on the discussion facilitation, and that will be showing up on your to-do list as being due about a week after your group's discussion takes place. And, of course, I address all of that in the video as well, but in a little more detail and walk you through everything. And as I said, I will be contacting groups as well with reminders, due dates, to make sure everybody is on the same page and knows what's going on. All right, so we are also starting with Module 1 this week, which in part is considering liberal arts education. So you'll have some freedom when selecting what you wish to read to learn more about liberal arts education. And some of you may have completed UNV 101, and if you did, you might have discussed the liberal arts or liberal arts education as part of the work in that class. So if you took that class, you might consider how your understanding of a liberal arts education has changed or shifted since that time. But even if you haven't taken that course, you might just consider what are your previous viewpoints or conceptions of what liberal arts education is. So first, on our Module 1 presentations and demonstrations page, we do have an 11-minute presentation by my colleague, Dr. C. And of course, she, designed our class, and she has very kindly let us use some of her presentations as well. So my thanks to her. And after that presentation, we do also have a TED Talk on our readings page. It's always great to watch some videos rather than just reading everything. And then after that TED Talk, we have several additional readings that you get to choose from. And so do make sure you take a look at my notes on Canvas about choosing readings. There are 2 different lists there. You need to choose one from each of those lists. And our goal here really is to learn and think more about a liberal arts education. So I really do encourage you to read more articles than are required if you're able to fit that into your time. So then, of course, once you have completed those readings, we will be having a discussion activity on Tuesday where you'll write about the readings and what you've learned from them. And you want to take a look on Canvas, of course, for more detailed instructions for that discussion activity. And then once you post, make sure you read over what your classmates have said. And there will be reading what your classmates say can be helpful for you, not only in learning about the readings that you did not choose, but also perhaps in better understanding and thinking about the readings that you did choose and read through and post about. So, of course, you will need to respond to your classmates as well. So then after that, for Thursday, we'll be moving on to writing and professions, right? So although EGS 301, this course is not a career preparation course in the same ways that workplace writing or technical writing are, which we also offer, and I do teach occasionally. This class does encourage you to consider how the skills of English studies applies outside of the classroom. So, of course, I believe strongly that what we learn in our English studies courses, like this one, are transferable to professional experiences and, of course, everyday life. So for Thursday, we do have some readings on writing and professions, followed by a discussion activity in which you'll be asked to learn a bit more about some career paths that are of interest to you. And of course, consider how writing is important to those, and then identify an area of concern or a question that you have moving forward that you want to be considering regarding your career. So, of course, as you consider writing's role in your future career, your understanding of writing as a concept should also be broad. In other words, don't limit yourself to thinking about writing as simply preparing academic essays or the writing you do for schools, or even just simply writing emails or memos or short reports. Really think about writing as including both text and image, writing as being multimodal, and of course that is using more than one mode. And we're going to have be considering more about that idea of multimodality in Module 2, so stay tuned for that. But examples of writing that might be multimodal, using more than one mode, that might include, let's say, an estimate for a home improvement project, which includes not only text but also 3D renderings, right? Or a social media post promoting your nonprofit organization's efforts in response to some local problem, or perhaps even just text messages soliciting business from a prospective client, or a video diary highlighting a business's end-of-year accomplishments, right? So there are many others. You can see that these are really not what we normally consider just writing that we do for school. So if you are struggling to think about how writing is or will be important in your future career, think about what and how you would communicate with others in the workplace, with your coworkers, with supervisors, clients, and others. So thinking about communication in general as well. So then, of course, after you submit your post on Thursday's discussion, also remember to reply to your classmates and take a look at the instructions on Canvas for more details about that. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. I can see this video is already too long. But if you do have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, and I hope you all have a great week.